Hi everyone, my name is Junon. I have a health science background and I'm the author of the book Truth and Empathy, How to Find Your Soulmate. And I'll put a link to the book below. This video is an MBTI personality type assessment of Guy Lafleur. I think that most people who are Canadian have heard that this hockey legend has really passed away in April of this year, 2022. And you know, it's unfortunate. I mean, he was rather young. He was only 17 years old because he was born in September of 1951. So I think it's a good idea to go over, you know, someone like this and understand his personality type so that we can better understand ourselves and others. So for me, when I look at Guy Lafleur, I think the first thing that comes to mind is that he's probably a sensor perceiver, and I will explain my logic here. Now, with most sensor perceivers, they are interested in certain you know, areas of life. So in other words, in terms of career. So either they are entertainers, they are either entrepreneurs, or they will also be interested in athletics. So I would say that Guy Lafleur at a very young age, I mean, he was like, you know, in his teens, and he was already a celebrity. So he was interested in hockey at a very early age, and he showed obviously great promise. So before you know it, you know, by his early 20s, he was in the, you know, playing at the, you know, professional level. So you can tell that with sensor perceivers, especially, let's say if you look at the sensor perceivers who are the thinker type, they're the type of individuals who tend to be well coordinated, and also they tend to be driven. So what happens with sensor perceivers is that most of them, I think that these are people who are very disciplined, but it's more than discipline. Is that when they are passionate about a particular project or a field of study, they throw themselves, you know, body, mind, and soul into it. So that's what drove Guy Lafleur in terms of succeeding, and obviously he had natural talent. So he said that his main goal in his life was really to be the best hockey player, and he got married in his early 20s, but he said that family came after hockey. So he said that, you know, he really wanted the public to be support him, because he said, well, you know, I don't exist unless there's an audience to watch those games. So he felt that, you know, he really need to put all of himself into his career. So he was actually, his marriage was you know, on the brink of divorce at some point in the 70s, because of the fact that he was not around. He was always training. Obviously, when you are a hockey player, you go from like one seat to the next, especially when you go through the you know, some the playoffs and things of the sort. So in other words, each year, each season demands quite a bit, and even during the summer, you can't just, you know, be totally relaxed. They have to keep on training to stay at that high level. So in other words, you'll see that with sensor perceivers, they don't put as much emphasis on family and you know, traditions, because the theme of their life is freedom and movement, especially when it comes to someone like you know, a hockey player. Like, movement is very important because they are very physical. So I would say again that he's a sensor perceiver, and even in terms of whether or not he's a masculine or feminine, I would say that he's most likely a masculine, just so it's left predominant, and actually helps when, let's say, you are, you know, competing. So you have to be logical, you know, have, you know, being strategic about, you know, your next move. So you need to be able to stay cool under pressure, and Guy Lafleur actually, you know, is you know, showed that many times that he can take you know, the pressure of being a professional hockey player. The other aspect also is that I was watching a documentary about him. He was saying that he is more of the you know, reclusive type. So he was not the type of person who liked, although obviously he was very, you know, well known, but he's not the type of person who reveled in being in the center of attention. So in the sense that, and also if we were to determine was it an introvert or extrovert, I would say that he's most likely an introvert. So, and that actually fits well, like in terms of his personality. So if, let's say, you look at, based on these letters, that he's probably an ISTP, and ISTPs, when you look at, let's say, different fields of study, I mean, they are most likely going into the athletics. So if you were to line up, let's say, 10 Olympic athletes, probably a large percent of them were probably ISTPs. ISTPs are called the mechanic, and also actually at some point after he retired from hockey, he was really interested also in aviation. So he was a pilot. So in that you'll see that with ISTPs, sense of perceiver thinkers like to play with the gadgets and objects. So in other words, they're not people oriented, they are object oriented. So I think that this really is probably the right personality type for Guy Lafleur. So again, I mean, he was married, he had 2 children and so forth, but his passion, what he was really in love with, is to be a hockey player, and you can see that by how much time, energy, and also that he retired in 1984 and then came back 5 years later, because he was actually someone who really wanted to end well his career, and it was a love of his from an early age. So let me know if you agree or disagree with this MBTI personality type assessment of Guy Lafleur by commenting below. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, please click on the like button, subscribe to my channel, and we will talk soon.